Hello, we're going to talk about the BoltOps reference architecture today, and today we're going to cover the ECS Spot blueprint. Okay, in another video, we've already created the production, management, and development VPCs. We also paired them together, and we did this all on one AWS account. So we took on the one AWS account strategy there. Okay, so we're going to still continue that with the ECS Spot blueprint. So let's go there. And here there's some prerequisites with ECS Spot. You got the first one's configure your settings file, which we've already done. Then the ECS service roles. So to do this one, if you open this up, basically it shows you AWS CLI commands to create service roles. Service roles are kind of needed for the Spot service here. If you're using Lono Seed, which we're going to be doing, we don't actually have to run these commands. So the seed command is going to actually handle that for us. It actually, if you don't have basically these service roles, it spits out like you don't have it, and then it spits out that it creates it. So we have our we're going to use Lono Seed to handle that. Okay, and then this one, the ECS cluster. So we do have to create the ECS clusters, and we create this outside of actually CloudFormation because it's better to have this decoupled from the kind of instances. I found, and we're going to use the commands down here, AWS profile 1, because we're on a single account. So let's actually do that real quick. Okay, and there, the two clusters are there. Okay, so that is done. Let's go back to the README here, and now we're on the regular instructions for the blueprint, which is basically add the blueprint to gem file, configure some blueprint configuration values, and then deploy the blueprint. It's just those steps right there. So to add the blueprint, you would just kind of go add this gem right here to the gem file. But the blueprint actually, the blueprints are included in the reference architecture. You just open up gem file here and you see blueprint ECS Spot. So we're pretty much set. The blueprint's just using this method that calls gem. Okay, so we're set there. So let's go on to the next command. Next command is actually generating the config files, because instead of manually basically building config files, we're just generate them. So let's go ahead and run these two commands right here. Lono Seed for ECS Spot and for the development environment, and then also now for the production environment. And see, it generates these C files for us. Okay, so these C files are now here. And there's a couple C files that generate. Generate params file, and also generate variables file. So let's kind of open them up and check them out to see what they're all about. Okay, so the first are params file. Params files are just normal CloudFormation parameters that you pass the CloudFormation stack to change what it provisions, okay, or how it provisions things. And we need subnets, and then we need VPCs, okay? So we have a different VPC for development, and we have a different VPC for production. We also have different subnets, so that's why these are configurable, okay? And those are the only required parameters, so we'll just kind of go and grab those. And you grab that from basically the outputs of the CloudFormation stack here. So here, I'm going to look in the development VPC, and I'm going to grab that its VPC value. Go ahead and throw it in here. And then while I'm there, I might as well grab the subnet values for development. I'll do all development first. So the subnet values that we want are the private app subnets, because this is where we want to run the, this is where I recommend running the containers on. Okay, so let's just go ahead and throw that in there. So that's kind of done, that one. Maybe put it down here. Okay, there we go. So there. So that's the first one. That one's done. Now we're going to do the production one right here. And then grab the production VPC. Throw it in here, right on the bottom here. And save that. I'm going to close development now because I'm done with that. And private app subnets right there. Okay. So here's the private app subnets right here. Okay. So now that's looking good. I think we're done with configuring the config files. We're essentially done, and this README is just kind of reviewing what we've already done. It's just showing the config file tree structure there, and then some values from the development config file. So then we kind of have an idea of what it needs to be done. And then it also shows the development variables. We should take a look at those, even though we're not going to be adjusting those because we don't need to for the sake of this video. Okay, but essentially these config files here, or these variables file here, is gonna basically generate different spot fleet values. So then you could basically combine all sorts of different instances, and so your chances of getting instances are very, very high. I would recommend, like the README file here says, or the variables file here says, to choose instances that support ENI trunking. and there's a link there to the AWS docs. But that just allows you to have higher container density when you're using something called AWS VPC network mode. Okay, so anyway, those are all done. And now we'll continue with the README. Here, now we're basically ready to deploy. So we're going to deploy to a single account. So instead of running these accounts, these commands right here, which is for multiple account setups, we're going to just go to this one account documentation here, and then where it provides a summarized list of the commands. And so we're just going to run these commands instead. And the really only difference is the stack name needs to be kind of different, and we use the same blueprint because the stack name can't be the same when you're using basically the same account. Okay, so I'm going to run both of those commands here. I'm deploying the first ECS Spot development one, and now I'm going to deploy the production one. And what you're going to see is you're going to see the stacks kind of being created right here. So there it goes. There's the first one. It's starting to create. Okay, and then here's also the production one starting to create. And again, they're using different VPC values, right? Because we're passing different parameters here. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of time to create. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so y'all don't have to wait. Okay, so both ECS Spot stacks are finished creating. Here's the ECS Spot development one, and here's the ECS production one. And you're just going to scroll down here in the events here. You can see how long it took, 2107 all the way to 2110. So about 3 or 4 minutes, and then all the Spot instances are launched. So we can actually go look here in the EC2 console and look on instances, and you can see 4 running instances. Okay, and let's kind of expand this out a little bit. And there's basically 2 development and 2 production Spot instances there. Okay, oh, I guess we should also check whether or not it actually is on ECS. So let's go ahead and check ECS, and we can see it all registered. So here's the ECS cluster. Here's the production development cluster, and it says right there, actually, we'll just go back. So on ECS, there is the development, and there's 2 container instances registered to it, and production. There's also 2 container instances registered to it. Okay, let's go back to the README. All right, here. Okay, so we deployed it, and then the rest of the README talks about how you can access the instance. A session manager is set up on all these instances, so you can just use that. There's even a pro script to help you set up session manager on the kind of setting side. On the instance itself, it's already been set up via the user data and everything. And then I made permissions and some considerations around Spot, okay, because you might get interrupted. Your basically application must start within 2 minutes, okay, because you get a 2-minute interruption signal. But that's all pretty much being handled right now by the blueprint. And we'll just, I think that's pretty much it. I guess we'll go back to the reference architecture diagram here. So we deployed basically ECS Spot cluster here and also ECS Spot cluster there. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so hopefully you find this video helpful. Okay, cheers.